to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And wow, I think I need to catch up and let you know what's going on. It's all good, but I'm very triggered and not feeling well. So I decided that I was going to take a peer recovery support certification training course. And it's 60 hours. And as you know, I push myself too far most of the time. But this is something that I really thought about for a long time, even longer than it's been since I had my stroke. It's something that just was interesting to me. So I wanted to do it. And I was nervous about it. I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to handle it. The instructor, who is amazing, assured me that he could accommodate for my disability, and I don't have to look at the screen a lot of the time if I can't, and that a lot of the stuff would be I could ingest audibly. And so the class started on Monday, and it's 9 to 5 on Mondays and Tuesdays, which really what I thought would be the most challenging part of it in stroke recovery is my eyes, is not looking at the screen. I have a tendency to want to look at the screen. Like right now, I'm looking to the right of the computer, and I am forcing myself to not look at the computer right now. I even have gone back and looked at some of my episodes, and it's bothersome to me that I'm not looking at the screen, at the camera, but I have to do it for my own um, pain, to minimize it. So he said that I could do the same, and I stuck it out Monday. I was really, really exhausted by early afternoon. I was like yawning and excuse me. What I realized is it's more than just the screen that is a lot for me. I don't want to say too much for me, but because I don't want to not do it, So, but it's a lot. It's a lot for me to try to ingest that much information to to be cognitively on for that length of time. It's not something that I have done in like 4 years to just be listening. I mean, I listen to my audiobooks for a couple hours at a time, but this is really learning. So I'm taking notes, and I have printed out the documentation so that I don't have to look at the screen and I can just look at my paperwork, and I take notes on the pieces of paper. And if any of you are actually looking at the video, you can tell that I'm having pain in my behind my eyes, and it's only the 19th of November, and usually this kind of discomfort kicks in the last week of the month before I take my Emgality injection. So I am pushing myself to my limits, um, but I'm going to keep going. And what I ended up doing yesterday on the second day is I turned the brightness down on my computer display all the way to 0 so that the screen was black so that everybody could see me, but I couldn't see them. And that helped with the nausea going away. But it's still, I'm still ingesting all of that information. So that is the negative side of taking the course. On the positive side, I am learning so much about mental health disorders. Stuff I had no idea. I have spent the majority of my life with depression and anxiety, and um, it's hard. Life is hard. It's hard for everybody. And I don't want to say that people with mental health disorders that life is harder. But it's hard in a very different way. It's difficult in a very different way. And I've learned a lot. I don't want to get into the specifics about what I've learned. It's just because what happens in the training, I think, should stay in the training. But I have learned about a variety of mental health disorders that I did not understand before. I definitely had empathy for people who had various mental health disorders. Um, that are different and more severe than mine, but I didn't really understand what it was like to live with that. And I've only really heard like scratch the surface of living with a severe mental health disorder. So it's really giving me exactly what I wanted to get. I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn more so that I can help more. I wanted to learn more so that I can find the right words in my podcast and make sure that I don't come across as offensive or say something that would not be helpful to somebody who's in recovery. When I initially signed up for the class, I just figured there was going to be a lot of alcohol related stuff. And although there is, that's been like 20% of what I've learned, or what we've been talking about. A lot of it has been about mental health disorders and addiction. So I'm getting so much more than I even anticipated getting from it, and I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to be able to think more empathetically about these various mental health disorders. So that's what's happening. I have not been able to record. I just literally can have not been able to push myself to that extreme to actually record something. I wouldn't even be able to keep my train of thought together yesterday and the day before. I'm right on the edge right now of like forgetting what I'm saying and stuff. But I did want to record because I wanted to check in. I wanted to give a heads up because I don't know how it's going to go as I continue to take the course. So this is the schedule. I'm letting you guys all know my schedule and stuff because I really feel very passionate, as you know, about this podcast, about um, I named it the Recovery Daily Podcast because recovery is every day. But I have realized over the past 3.5 years that I pushed my recovery too far many of those days when I was really struggling, having a lot of pain, struggling to find my words. I just was pushing myself through it. And I did it for a reason. I wanted people to understand or be able to relate to what I was going through. I didn't want my pain to be for only me, for only my gain. I wanted as many people to experience or allow me to share about my experience so that we could all learn from it. Um, but I think that I have suffered the consequences of pushing myself too far with the podcast. And as you know, I'm an overachiever. I have proudly labeled myself as an overachiever, but it does come back to bite me so often. I think it's correlated with my desire to control things. I want to make sure that um, I I keep people engaged. I expect a lot from myself, and right now I am seeing that signing up for this course that is really important to me. I have reached that. I've run out of spoons, with the spoon and cup theory. In order to fill my cup, I have put myself in the position where I've run out of spoons. So, on the days that I'm taking my class, I need to not record my podcast. So, my schedule Mondays and Tuesdays, it's 9 to 5. It's virtual, but it's 9 to 5. And I can't reasonably record the podcast and upload it. It's just too much for me, basically. So it's Mondays and Tuesdays, and then on Friday, it's a half day, which I believe is still too much for me to record the podcast. So over the next few weeks, I will be recording much less, which I know is fine. And I appreciate everybody who tunes in on whatever days that I record. It means so much to me because we have developed a community here, and when you show up for me and I show up for you, I feel it. I feel it. It's so funny because we don't talk. It's just me talking, but I still feel that participation even when it's just to click play. And there's a lot of you that listen who I personally know, and I picture your faces when I'm talking, actually. So I wanted to let you know what's going on. For the most part, I'll be recording on Wednesdays and Thursdays for the next few weeks. Um, and then we'll just pick it back up after Thanksgiving. So it'll be just, I don't know, a handful of times before Thanksgiving. And then the last class I have is, I think it's 2 Mondays after Thanksgiving. Then we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program. So that's what's happening. And I think I want to encourage people to like think about is there something out there that you've always wanted to do, but you feel like, well, I don't know how I would squeeze that in, or um, I don't have time to do that because of other commitments that I have. There's a way where there's a will, there's a way, and I have found a way to take this course. And even though it's challenging for me physically, I think that it's filling my cup up even more so than solely recording my podcast. So I want to thank you all for joining me on my podcast and being a part of my journey. And I have every intention of recording again tomorrow. I've got some other personal matters that going on that require me to fill out a bunch of paperwork. And you know how that is. And that's really challenging for me as well. As a matter of fact, I came across a when after I had my stroke in 2021, I had paid off my car. And so when you pay off your car, You submit the lien release that you receive from the financial organization to the DMV, and then they send you your title to the car. Well, what happened was I had had my stroke before a few months before this happened. So I was unable to read the paperwork that was sent to me, and I never followed through with that. So I'm at the point right now where we've moved twice since then. And so right now, my title to my car is actually still at the DMV in West Virginia, where I used to live. It's not even at the DMV in the state where I live. So I was cursing slightly this morning, and I kept telling myself, cursing is not helping, Rachel. So I did stop cursing, and I was like, it'll be figured out. It's not worth stress. So I was trying to tell myself that. Anyway, I ended up calling the financial institution where I had my car loan. And the lady was like, just give me the VIN number for the car because I didn't have an account number anymore either. So she said, give me the VIN number of the car. And I gave it to her. She's like, yep, I have it right here. We will be sending a notarized version in the mail. And I was like, I said, oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how much you just made me so happy right now. And she started laughing. And I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And she just kept laughing. But I'm like, I, the, the torment, the additional stress that I created for myself before I picked up the phone and called them was completely unnecessary, you know? And I do that so often, so often. So, anyway, things are going in the right direction, but I do have a lot of paperwork, which requires my eyeballs again. So just a lot going on. And thanks for letting me unload. That's all I've got for you today. I don't have a great topic. Hopefully you pulled some helpful stuff from just those few stories. And I will pull something just brilliant together for you tomorrow. So tune in and I'll talk to you then.